This is going to be the second installment on the topic of the $10,000 all titanium carbon fiber Brompton bike. And the reason I'm doing this a second video on this topic is because some questions and ideas came up, and so one video is just not going to be enough. If you click on the link below, I have a link to this shop page or resource page that I set up, and I have added some links at the very bottom. You can see, you can link into my channels here, and there's also this link I added for the rides. Our rides, if you are in the New York area and you have a small wheel ride, you are welcome to join. You don't have to have a Facebook account. All you have to have is that link, and you can see the upcoming events here. The past event, this one was the one that we did with the Brompton Family Time. He's the one who has the $10,000 titanium frame, and of course there were all kinds of pictures. You can check out the rides and who is on and who is off and whatnot. So this is the bike, and some people commented that this is not the most expensive bike in the world. Well, nobody has said. In fact, the owner himself said that he could spend another couple of $1,000s and push it up to $12,000, and that would result in bringing down the weight to only 14,000 or 14 pounds rather. So $12,000 for a 14-pound bicycle. That seems like a bargain because you spent less than $1,000 per pound. So no, this is not the most intense bicycle you can get. You could spend $20,000 or 20,000 British pounds, which is about $25,000, on the most expensive Molten, which is this double pylon in the new series. The new series is the nicest bike they have, and it is also the most intense bike. It has all of the suspension you are used to from the Molten company, but with exceptional componentry and execution. This is actually an all steel bicycle. It's an absolutely gorgeous bike. And if I compare it to the titanium, one thing that I notice immediately is that if somebody does not know anything about titanium and Brompton, they would not know how much this bike is. So you could probably cut across Harlem at 10 p.m. and people wouldn't even pay attention. This is a stealth bike. Not so with this one. This would get a lot of attention. Every once in a while I see somebody not on a new series as expensive as this, but the lower ranking $6,000-7,000 new series, and even those bikes they just look so flashy. I mean, this whole thing is made of what looks like chrome, but it's really just brushed stainless steel. But this is still not a custom bike. This is still something Molten makes. I'm sure there are not many orders, so you put in the order and wait. But this is not a custom-made bike. If you go for a custom-made bicycle, I'm sure you can push the price even farther than just $25,000. So what can you get? What could I have gotten? What could this man have bought in place of this $10,000 Brompton? You could buy a Vespa Giorni for under $8,000. So for $10K you can get the rear box, you can get the windshield, you can pretty much get all of the accessories, which definitely makes one think. My preference, since I already have a bicycle, would probably be to get the Vespa. You could quite amazingly get one of the fastest velomobiles on the market, which is the Milan. Since a euro right now costs less than $1, euro is worth less than $1. This is probably within the $10,000 mark, and I will make other videos on velomobiles, but if you wanted to get one that's really fast, that would be the Milan. There are others as well, but Or you could get the Raciest recumbent. I know that is not a custom recumbent, but something you can buy sort of off the shelf. You can get the basic frame with a roll of hub for less than $5,000. If you get the rear box like the one you see here, if you get the rear box, that's going to push the price up a little bit. There is a folding feature, which is an extra $500, and there's a front windshield, so you can configure it, but even then it's not going to go up to more than $7,000. And it is foldable, although it's going to be more than 15 pounds, that's for sure. So there were some comments about comparing the performance of these bikes. The real advantage with the titanium frame is that it makes climbing a lot easier. It certainly makes carry a lot easier. My electric bike, the Brompton Interceptor as I call it, weighs at least 40 pounds on a good day, maybe 45 depending on what I'm putting into the bag. Compared to that, this bike is 1/3 the weight, so it's much easier to carry. And as I said, for climbing, weight really makes a difference. But once you climbed up the hill, the downhills are actually faster on a heavier bike. And the flats, the lightweight bicycle is a little bit easier, but not much easier, just a little bit. And if you compare the gearing, external gearing cannot light a candle to the width of the hub gear. I still have the original Sturmey Brompton hub gear set. There are upgrade options. There is one, a Shimano upgrade, that you can do even with the stock triangle. But you know, even with this stock hub gear, I could go faster even with the same chain wheel, and my chain wheel is much bigger. I think this is somewhere around the 50, mine is a 60. So somebody asked about the rolling resistance. There's definitely some resistance with a hub gear, much less so with the external gear set that the titanium Brompton comes with. And even that has some resistance. I mean, look at all this derailleur and everything. If you want absolutely no resistance, that would be a single speed bicycle with no derailleur, which is not an option on a folder. You have to have some kind of a chain tension or something, and that's going to wrap the chain around, and it's going to create a resistance. That's just the nature of it. If you're interested, brakes also, these kind of grip brakes are the best for speed. The hydraulic disc that is becoming more and more popular is actually not just heavier, but it just slows the bag down a little bit, not by a lot, but by a little bit. So as far as speed is concerned, the ultra lightweight bicycle is really not a way to get it. There are only two ways that you can get serious speed, and that is either some kind of a propulsion system, electric, or there are even some gasoline kits that you can buy. Or if not that, then you can go for the aerodynamics. So aerodynamics can make a lot of difference. And these bikes, even these bikes, climbing with a very aerodynamic but heavy bike is not fun. So you might be doing an uphill and at 7 or 8 miles an hour, but the downhills, they can take the downhill at 40, 50, even 65, 70 miles an hour, depending on gearing. So that's how you catch up. So when you go downhill, they can go really, really fast. Another comment I want to make is that if you want to go ultralight, forget about comfort. Even if it's fast, forget about comfort, because a comfortable seat is heavy. If you have all these suspension things that I added on my bike, you can't do it. He upgraded the suspension, it seems, and that's a good idea, but the seat is not something I would want to do a 60-mile ride on. And I should say that I should compare the earliest of motorcycles. Consider that even they try to add some suspension. There's a suspension here, there's a suspension in the seat itself, and then very quickly they discovered that suspension is needed even if it doesn't go fast. These early motorbikes maybe could have done 20 or 25 miles an hour. And if you look at the current electric Brompton, it is speed limited to only 15 an hour, but sustaining, because of the electric support, you can sustain those speeds over time a lot better than on any other bike, even with the titanium. So you really want to add some suspension to that. So that's just my comment about speed versus comfort. You really cannot do a very light bicycle and be very comfortable. Okay, that's it on the topic of the $10,000 Brompton, and I'm giving a link below if you want to go to the channel where you can see a much more detailed review of exactly what went into the creation of this bike. I'll see you on the next one.